Okay, in this video, I'm going to go over the 4.6 homework and also teach the 4.8 notes. Okay, so it says determine if the two triangles are congruent. I went through the directions in an earlier video. So looking at these, let's see what I have. I can see I can have a reflexive piece equal. So that's going to give me angle, side, angle, and it matches angle, side, angle with the other one. So I have angle, side, angle congruency. Now, since I have congruency, I have to mark the corners, the vertices, with letters. So P, L, T, Q. So I would say that triangle, let's see, I'm going to say L, T, P. So I went single W and then the other letter, okay, is congruent to triangle. Go single, so that's going to be T, double, L, Q. Okay, that's my congruency statement. Okay, look at this next one. Mark your common side. That's going to give me angle, angle, side, and the same angle, angle, side here. So I have angle, angle, side congruency. So let's label our vertices A, B, C, D. So if I say single, double, so triangle, single angle, double angle, blank angle is congruent. I have to do the same thing. Triangle, single, double, blank. Got it. That's my congruency statement. Okay, remember I always say you've got to mark your vertical angles. So when I mark the vertical angles, what do I have? The right angle, they're both equal, so that's angle, side, angle. So angle, side, angle. And let's say this is M, N, T, Q, Z. So if I do the right angle, the vertical angle, and the other, it's congruent to the right angle, the vertical angle, and the other. That's my congruency statement. Okay, here I only have one side and one angle, so this is not enough information. I said there's 5 of these, so not enough information. I'm going to repeat this a couple of times. I think I'm going to copy that. Okay, let's look over here for number 5. If I mark this side equal, if I mark this side equal, let's see what happens. I have angle, side, side. Or, so here I have angle, side, side, and here I have side, angle, side. So nope, they don't match. So therefore, I can say not enough information for that one as well. Okay, let's come over to number 6. And don't forget, you've got to mark these vertical angles. Doubles, because singles already been used. So that's going to give me angle, angle, side. So this angle, this angle, this angle, this angle, and this side. So that works. So that's angle, angle, side. And once I have that, let's let's mark the vertices. O, P, S, T, and we'll make this inside W. Okay, so if I say I have triangle, the single, which would be the O, the vertical angle, which is the W, and the other angle, which is the S, is congruent to the single, which is the P, the double, which is the W, and the, do I have two S's? That's so silly. Make that a Q. So, okay, and we've got it. That's our congruency statement. Okay, look at 7. All I have is angles. I do not have any angle congruency, so I can't do that. So I'm going to come over here and paste not enough information for that one. Look at this. I have one angle, and I can mark the reflexive side, which is important to do. But even doing that, I don't have enough information. So I'm going to say again, not enough information. Okay, then over here I have another case of all angles. Remember, I can't do that. I can't prove congruency that way. So that's good as well. And the last one, I'm going to mark the vertical angles because that is key. So that's going to give me side angle side here. But look what I have here. I have side, side, angle. They don't match. So guess what? We're back to not enough information. And there you have it. Okay, so that's what you should have had for your homework. Clearly, you would have had different letters. Hopefully, you did yours carefully. And if you had any problems, hopefully what I just did now clarified them. Okay, here's our last section. It's section 4.8. So this says isosceles and equilateral triangles. Remember, isosceles means that you have two equal sides, and equilateral is that you have three equal sides. Okay, so you want to know that vocab going into it. Okay, they talk about a isosceles triangle. So that's right down here. So label this as isosceles triangle. Okay, the legs are the two congruent sides of an isosceles triangle. Okay, so here are your legs. Why don't we just work on some highlighting here? Our legs are right here and here. Okay, so then the vertex angle is the angle formed by the two legs. Okay, so that's important. So looking here, I can say the vertex angle is this top angle right here. It's the tippy top angle given how this triangle is drawn. The base is the third side of the isosceles triangle. So right over here. Here is your base. And then the base angles are very important. So the base angles are the two angles adjacent to the base. Okay, so these angles, they are congruent. You want to know that. That's very, very important. Okay, so let's do this in gray. Base angles. Okay, these two little guys over here are the base angles. Okay. So the base angle theorem is what gets us the congruency. If two sides of a triangle are congruent, then the angles opposite them are congruent. So look what's happening. these angles are congruent because this is opposite that side and this is opposite that side. And then the converse of that, if two angles of a triangle are congruent, then the sides opposite them are congruent. So look, if I tell you these angles are equal, then you can mark these sides equal. And this is very, very important. Okay, the base angle theorem, if two, this should say sides of a triangle are congruent, then the angles opposite them are congruent. Okay, so we just talked about that. So that's this guy in words. And the converse, if two angles of a triangle are congruent, then the sides opposite them are congruent. That's the verbiage for this. Corollary, if a triangle is, if a triangle is equilateral, then it is equiangular. What does that look like? So if you have a triangle, and if they mark these three sides equal, guess what you can do? You can mark the angles opposite those sides equal. Okay, so that's what that means. And then the flip of that is, if a triangle is equiangular, then it is equilateral. Okay, so that means if they tell you all the angles are equal, you are allowed to mark the sides opposite those angles equal. Okay, so this is all about equiangular slash equilateral triangles. Okay, all right, let's keep going with these notes. Okay, now we're into the examples. So let's see what they have to offer us for examples. So it says triangle DEF, DE is congruent to DF. Okay, so then mark the side that goes with the angle. Okay, that's equal, so that angle, and then this side is opposite this angle. Those two angles are equal. So angle F equals angle E. Okay, can we label this? This is an isosceles triangle. So what do we know? This angle is the vertex. We know this is a leg. This is the leg. This is the base. And that means this is a base angle. And that is a base angle. Okay, you definitely want to know how to label these. Okay, find the measures in a triangle. Find the measures of the triangle. Okay, can you find the angles? So what I know is that all of these are equal. So if I were to, to label these, hang on one sec. Okay, so sorry, my pen died. Find measures in this triangle. So I see that these sides are all marked. Remember I told you that if these are marked, you are allowed to mark the angles opposite those sides equal. So now how do you figure out the measurement? Well, what if I name these with the same variable? Because I know they're all equal, so I can't have different variables. So what I know is that 3x has to equal 180. So divide by 3, and I get that each of the angles is 60 degrees, and we have gone over that before. So in an equilateral triangle, you also have an equiangular situation, and each of the angles is 60. Okay, now look at this. This is kind of fun. So what do we know about this? Let's see. So I know that this side's in common, for one. And I know that, let's see. Oh, look. Aren't all 3 of these sides the same because all of the angles are the same? Then, don't I know that this angle is the same as well because it's opposite same angles? Okay, so now I know right away that x must be 7. So what do I know about y? So let's think about this. What do I know? So if I know that, doesn't this have to be 7? So doesn't this have to equal 7? And if that's the case, subtract 4, and you're going to get y equals 3. So we solve both of these problems by just analyzing the triangles that we were given. Okay, so look at that again. Make sure you understand what I just did. Okay, look at this next one. Okay, so here is an isosceles triangle. So I know that that's the leg. That's the leg. These angles have to be equal. And what are those angles called? Oh, those are the base angles. Base angles. Okay, this is the base. And then this is the vertex angle. So just like every other triangle, you have to have 180 degrees inside. So far we have 50. That means we have 130 degrees to divvy up between here and here equally. So take 130 and divide it by 2, and you should get 65. So that means each of the base angles has to be 65 degrees. Okay? So think about that. You should be able to get those numbers pretty easily. Okay, so that's the end of the notes. So now your homework is to do this. So let's preview it. So define the vertex angle. Look at the first page of the notes. What is the relationship between the base angles of an isosceles triangle? So write this out. You're going to look at the notes. They tell you some things here. So if you have certain sides equal, then you should be able to say certain angles are equal. So look at your notes and see if you can answer that. Find the unknown angle measurement or side measurement. So look at the markings. Remember which markings you were allowed to put on, and you should be able to solve that no problem. Okay, so the next one here, let's see. A base angle is an isosceles triangle, measures in an isosceles triangle measures 37 degrees. That's a base angle. Draw and label the triangle, and then find the measure of the vertex angle. Okay, again, it's all vocab. Okay, here's some algebra. Get yourself an equation based on what you know about isosceles and equilateral triangles, and then find the mistake here. So you should definitely be able to do this homework on page 23 and 24 of your packet. So thank you for listening.